Hello again, everyone. You're listening to another episode of Executive Platform's Blueprint podcast series. My name is Jeff Mix. I'm Executive Platform's Head of Content and Research. My guests today are Jack Wilson and Jerry Carlson. Jack Wilson is currently the CRO of Bulletproof, a leader in the cybersecurity industry, leveraging extensive experience in developing strategies, building high-performance teams, and delivering revenue and profitable growth. Jerry Carlson has over 3 decades of IT and security experience, with 23 of these years spent at Microsoft. He currently leads a team of cybersecurity experts for Bulletproof across the United States. Jack, Jerry, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks, Jeff, for having us.
I want to start off by talking about something I think every IT professional feels from time to time. There are hundreds of tools and technologies out there to address all kinds of challenges and opportunities. It's so complex. At times, it can be almost overwhelming to keep on top of what's new and what's coming online. I wonder if we can start by talking about what really makes a solution best of breed or best of platform.
Yeah, Jeff, I wanted to say we have this conversation all the time, but if you think about it, when you're having this conversation with someone, 20 years ago or so, best of breed was the model that we used, and that was the best model we had. Because if you think about it, like email, you got the best email security. Maybe it was Proofpoint at the time. I don't know who it was, but the idea was you got email, you get email security. You have endpoint, you get endpoint security. There was no platform plays back in the day. And so I always assure people that it wasn't dumb to choose that model in the back. It just doesn't serve us today as well as it could. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Is one is that there's an explosion of tools. No one will argue that. I mean, you can go to any chart you want, but there's roughly 16 different categories in general of tools, categories. So if you're a CISO, you're picking one from each, maybe two sometimes, and that says you have 16 tools. Each of those tools may be manufactured by different companies. And so they're not designed to speak together. The answer in our industry was to get a SIEM product, pump them all up to the cloud, try to figure it all out. But there's some limitations there and gaps, because again, they're not designed to talk together. So what we're advocating for, and we're serious partners with Microsoft, is a best of platform. We're looking for companies that have a platform that covers email, endpoint, cloud, identity, et cetera, in a single platform where it's designed by the company, not by the customer. And so that's what we believe has, been history and where it's coming. Some of the advantages to doing best of platform is you reduce the complexity, as we just talked about. There's a lot of complexity built into all these tools. And then you think about training. If you have 16 different tools as an example, and you have IT staff, you have to keep training them, because one tool could advance, and they all do. Another tool advances at different times. So this is constant, wheel of training that you never get off of. And I think that it's kind of hard for the employees even to do that all the time as well. And they all generate a ton of alerts. And so, we always had the adversaries, but we didn't have the tools to see all these alerts. And so now we have all these tools, we have all these alerts, and you get this thing called alert fatigue, which is well known in the industry. So for all those reasons, we say, come from the best of breed world, which served us well in the past, and come to a best of platform. There's a reduction in portfolio, a simplification. You don't have these gaps as much anymore. Once you train your employees on a platform, it's a little bit easier to keep them up to date. So that was the reasons why we kind of are advocates for best of platform.
Yeah, and let me just kind of piggyback onto that. Everything that Jerry said, and very well said, Jerry. But in your scenario there, just take 17 vendors that are best in breed. So you're managing 17 vendors when contracts come up. It just, regardless, it's 17 vendors you're managing, versus in our model, we have one vendor to manage, and that's Microsoft.
Well, I think from there, I want the next obvious step to be talking about AI. Just about every conversation I've had in the last year or so touches on it in some place. And, what does AI really mean, especially when we were talking about data security and cybersecurity?
Great. Yeah, it's great. I think if you don't have AI in your title or product name, you're not cool anymore, for sure. But so it's definitely the rage, I believe. Well, I like to start. Let's just define AI in general just for a second, because we all are like, what AI? What is that thing? It's not Chat GPT. it's an implementation of AI, but AI in general is a machine that can do human tasks. That's just the general term that I use all the time. And then you have generative AI, the fancy word, and that is a machine that can actually create new things. It's not just creating and doing the tasks that a human can do. So those two definitions going forward, I just like to keep them in mind as we go. AI, it will permeate every business, every person. You know, how fast is that going to be? Who knows? But it's faster than, you know, all of us probably thought about. And I think if you use an example, you'd say that how long did technology take to get to 100 million users? Use that as a guide point. If you think about mobile phones, it took roughly 16 years to get 100 million people. Facebook took 4.5 years. GPT took roughly 3 months to get 100 million users. So the rate of adoption is just crazy. So we can all agree it's here and it's coming. I like to address AI and think about it a mindset to begin with. And so a mindset is basically what you think, and it is your actions are shown by what your mindset is. I think there is a denial mindset. It is people and companies just saying that I don't need AI. I'm making tons of money. I'm doing well. I just don't need AI. Then you have on the other side a fear mindset. I think this fear mindset says, well, AI is going to take my job, or my company is going to go out of business based on AI. And I personally think, you know, I don't know if AI will take your job or make your company go out of business, but a human using AI will take your job in the future. And companies that do not use AI will be at a competitive disadvantage. That is for sure. The last mindset is a positive one. And it says, I believe myself, my team, and my company will have tremendous productivity by using AI. And maybe we're not crystal ball, you know, fortune tellers in the future, but at least with that mindset, it gives us a better opportunity to lean in and, you know, look at it in an optimistic way. So that's sort of my AI in a nutshell. And we can go into little different tangents of AI, but I just want to start with sort of a definition, how fast it's growing, and sort of the mindset of AI, and how you can check your own mindset and what you think you are.
And to piggyback on to that, Bulletproof was an early adopter of AI internally. We were an early adopter from Microsoft of their Copilot program before anyone else could get it. And maybe it was my age, maybe it was just my misunderstanding of AI. But quite honestly, I did not have a huge interest in being part of that test pilot program. So I was kind of a late adopter within my own organization. Once I got trained and started using GPT, excuse me. Once I started using Copilot, I really leaned into it. And I would say in the 4 months that I've been a heavy user of using AI, that my productivity is probably up 20 to 30% by just doing the same thing that I do behind my desk, but just using the tool or the solution. So if somebody like me, and I'm not evangelizing, I'm not selling, I'm just saying that I was a very naysayer on just AI because I didn't understand it, which I believe is a lot of the folks in the marketplace, because there is a lot of white noise about AI, and it's all across the board. I can speak specifically about our own internal use of how we're using it, and it has definitely made me more productive.
Well, I think that's a beautiful illustration of what Jerry was saying about mindsets. I mean, if you go into it with a positive mindset, it becomes a powerful tool for productivity. Even if there is, the day-to-day of your job is changing, well, sure, because you've automated some of the busy work. You know, why don't you focus on things that are actually more valuable and more productive to do with your time with some help from AI? Why don't we talk about Bulletproof specifically? You've mentioned a couple of times you partnered with Microsoft and been an early adopter of Copilot. Why don't we tell people what your organization does, what sort of companies you work with, and where things are going?
Yeah, sure. I'll kind of take that, and Jerry, feel free to fill in any gaps that I miss. So I'm very happy to say that we're almost 2 decades in business as Bulletproof. We are now part of GLI. GLI acquired us, I believe, 7 years ago. And GLI, our parent company, is in the regulated gaming space. They own about 90% of that market. So if you've ever, not only gaming, but lottery as well. So if you've ever played the lottery, we certify that all the lotteries are up to snuff. We do all that testing. The same with any game that wants to go out to market. That has to be regulated. They have to understand that, you know, there are regulations in play. That's GLI, but they use Bulletproof as the solution from our InfoSec business. Within Bulletproof, we have 4 different business lines. We've got the InfoSec business that I just mentioned. We have our Security Operations Center, our SOC. We have 2 locations. We have one in Canada and one in Vegas. And then we have a traditional managed services, MSP, where we are maniacally focused in on the security presence from an MSP partner. And then we have cloud consulting. You know, how do I get from on-prem to the cloud? We have a whole cloud consulting group. And very happy to say that we were Microsoft's Partner of the Year in 2021. And just most recently, within the last 30 days, we were just awarded the Microsoft Excellence Award for Trailblazer of the Year in security. So that's who Bulletproof is.
Fantastic. Jerry, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I want to add inside of there. It's perfect explanation, but what it gives us is superpowers in a couple of areas, I would believe. And one of them is data and compliance, because one thing that at least the gaming industry is serious about is gambling and money. So we're very much in our DNA around compliance, and it all starts with your data. So as we mentioned, our cloud group executes it, but we're very deep into it. All starts with data. We're firm believers in that, whether you're doing it for compliance or whether you're doing it for AI, as we were talking about. We're very serious about someone that says, I would like to deploy AI across my company. Our conversation starts with, what does your data look like? Do you know? And if they haven't had a data strategy or have no idea, it's probably a bad idea to launch an AI initiative across that without having a handle on all of that data. And so, you know, all of that history gives us a little bit of superpowers in that area. So data and compliance would be a strong point for us.
Yeah, and let me also say one thing that I missed. We're also a global footprint company. So we're in over 30 locations globally. And another thing that I think separates Bulletproof is we meet the customer where they're at on their journey. So we will speak with anyone. When we go all the way up to the large enterprise, which is what a lot of people like to talk about, but we do a lot of business with very small organizations that want to migrate to the cloud, that want to migrate to AI, that want to eventually have their own or have us manage their entire operations from our SOC. So we meet our clients wherever they're at on that journey and then take them to the finish line.
I wonder if we could talk a little bit about, you know, the position IT professionals find themselves in. They're making choices about what to do internally, what to do externally. Again, there's such a wide range of options, and obviously Bulletproof works with all sorts of different organizations. What has your experience been working with clients, as you say, from all kinds of different backgrounds, shapes, sizes, to meet their needs?
Yeah, as Jack had said, we meet the customers where they're at. And just to reiterate, it could be a 10-person company, it could be a 100,000-person company. And so I say we're a little bit like Henry Ford was. So Henry Ford insourced everything. You have the cotton, the leather for the seats, you have the metal. That gave him the ability to be very efficient at producing cars at a good price. And so if a customer comes to us, we meet them where they're at. They could be on a low maturity model, they could be in the middle or the high, and we just help walk along with them as partners to get them to the high maturity model. And so we do that. We have services that will come up like as industry needs demand them. One of those is CMMC. It's a certification. If you do anything for the government, you have to certify for that. I believe it's by 2025. So there's roughly 300,000 suppliers in the US that have to have that certification. we have stood up a practice around that to help customers do that. And so again, we meet people where they're at, and we see industry needs, and we create solutions based on the industry needs.
Yep. And everything Jerry said is spot on. I absolutely love when we get engaged with a client that, and it happens more often than not, that they truly don't know where they need to go.
Yeah.
So, I don't, even though I'm the CRO and I run a sales organization, I don't like that label, because when you label us as salespeople, you immediately think that we're in trying to take something from you, trying to sell you something. What I like to really think of us as, we're more consultants on your business. As we've said before, we meet you where you're at, but we don't know where you're going. We have to sit down and really understand the state of your business. How did you get there? And then where do you want to go? And that's where I really take a lot of pride in the sales organization at Bulletproof, because we work with them. We do consulting. We do, we do tests. Maybe it's just a penetration test. Maybe it's a site survey test. But we start from the very basics, and then we stair step on top of that to get them to where they want to be, which hopefully is somewhere on that Microsoft 365 journey.
Well, I think that's a terrific walkthrough of what getting started looks like, which was going to be my next question. Why don't we talk about the working relationship? Because obviously you're not selling a turnkey solution here. Once you're partnered with Bulletproof, there is sort of an ongoing, hey, now we want to try this, or we're expanding that. How does the day-to-day and long-term working relationship look like?
You may take that, Jerry?
Sure.
Yeah, so the first thing that I will say is we have extremely low attrition, which tells me that once you come into the Bulletproof door, we work with you for years and years and years and years. As I mentioned, we're almost 20 years into the business, and I believe that we're sitting somewhere around like 98% of all of our customers have stayed with us these years. So I think that speaks highly to the type of customer, the type of company that we are. So regardless of where they're at on their journey, we start, and then 10 years later, we still have the same client, because as you know, Jeff, in technology, it's never a one and done. You don't buy a solution today and say, okay, vendor, thank you very much. People are looking for vendors that are going to be with them for that entire relationship. And that's Bulletproof.
Yeah, I'd also add into there, we have very strong values and a good culture. And why that really matters is because happy employees make happy customers, and we truly live by them. We're customer obsessed, we do the right thing. These are our internal values that play out with our customers, which speaks to the testament that we retain our customers, because people buy from people they like. We know that. People stay with people they like, because that's just human nature for us. And so we believe we're good partners because of that.
So I wonder if we can maybe wrap things up by saying, we have covered a lot of ground here. If there are one or two key takeaways you want people to think about further after listening to this episode, what would you want to highlight for them?
I would say there's two things that I would highlight for them. Is I'll go back to the data is king for us. Like, know your data. And if you don't know your data, let's just have a conversation about it. Let's start to talk about, do you have a taxonomy? Meaning that, is everything secret? Is everything confidential? What does that even mean? So we can help you to kind of plan those out and then go along the journey of your data. The next is AI. I would say, who's an expert in AI? Nobody. We're always learning like everybody else, but we have been learning that for quite a while now. So we have some wisdom and some conversation that we can have around that. So I'd say, if you want to have a conversation about AI, compliance of AI, how do you keep your secrets, we would be happy to have that. The last is we do have an offer based on Microsoft Copilot for security. It's a specific offering for them. Microsoft does not offer a trial, which means that you say, I want to try Copilot for security for a day, a month, a week, whatever. There is no trial that they're going to offer. We have created something we call a rapid test flight. It's availability, so you can come and take a 2-week trial. We'll help you hand in hand, help you set it up, define the rules. We'll help you set up use cases, so make sure you're successful. and we'll be with you the whole 2 weeks so you can figure out, is this a tool that can benefit our company? So that rapid test flight is a 2-week quick engagement. We're offering it. We think it's a good way to get started and at least dip your toe into AI in a Microsoft world.
Well said.
Absolutely. And that is a really enticing and exciting opportunity. For people who have been listening to this, want to learn more, have a few questions of their own, what is the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, Jack and I, we love LinkedIn. So if you just hit us up on LinkedIn, we'll definitely follow you back. We're like social butterflies on LinkedIn. So please hit us up on LinkedIn. We also have a website that you could go to. We talked about the rapid test flight. We'll give you the URL to it, and you can check it out. You can sign up just for a conversation, and maybe we'll get in touch and just have a chat about it.
Well, wonderful. And I would also encourage everyone who has been listening to this, Bulletproof will be both exhibiting and speaking at the North American Information Security Summit, which is happening this month in Denver, I believe. So they will be in the exhibition hall. Please go visit Jack and Jerry and the team. Jack and Jerry are also doing a workshop in room 1 on the afternoon of day 1. And they've got a fantastic topic that is touching on most of what we've done here, but of course in a lot more depth and with a visual element as well. So please, if you've enjoyed this, do seek them out on site in Denver at NACE 24. Jerry, Jack, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for your time. This was a lot of fun. We need to do this more often.
Absolutely.
You've been listening to another episode of Executive Platform's Blueprint podcast series. I've been Jeff Mix. Let's do it again soon.